Stay away!
Do you not have a deed? Do you not have a deed?
Stay away!
Do you not have a deed?
You're not supposed to be here! Get away!
Meow! Huples cat! That was me at 3 o'clock this morning, dealing with one of my neighbours. Anyway, what happened? Well, what happened is she's insane and she's been putting snow onto my driveway, all across the driveway. And usually she's been doing it when we're on nights. But she made the mistake last night of doing it when we were in. So how do you deal in the now with somebody who's insane, who's doing stuff you don't appreciate and you don't want them to do and you want them to stop? So how do you go about it? Well, I'm going to break it down. Ivy, can we resolve this? So remember, you're not crazy and they are, and some part of them knows that. So you approach them directly, but you call out to them before you get within their danger zone to let them know that you are open to a discussion. That's what I did here. You'll notice that a immediate response is to start telling me to go away and insulting me. Crazy man, okay? What do I do? Can we resolve this?
Stay away from my yard!
Can we resolve this? Now, unlike most people, I've had years of experience of dealing with crazy people. My job as an ICU charge nurse and my job currently as a manager of the hospital at night. I often have to deal with people who are not quite rational. Usually they have good excuses. She doesn't. However, you'll notice, and it's not planned, I've learned to do it over the years. I say the same thing 3 times to her. I do not engage with her response to me, which is negative. I don't care. It's not personal. She's a nut job. I ask her 3 times, can we resolve this? I'm offering at 3 in the morning, having been woken up to have my driveway being covered in snow, I am trying to say to her, can we resolve this? It's very frustrating for people when you do that, by the way.
Stay away
when we come
yard.
home from nights after 12 hours, it's really important we can drive into the driveway. How can we resolve this peacefully? So on the 4th repetition of can we resolve this, she has to engage with me. She doesn't want to, she really doesn't want to, but the human mind is often a pre-programmed box of jelly, and if you keep hitting the right triggers, people are tricked by their own internal consciousness into responding the way you want them to. Remember, she's crazy, you're not, you're in charge. Remember that.
Be a good neighbour.
How would I do that?
From day one, respect my yard.
I am. So here I'm asking her, what can I do to fix your problem? And she tells me, and I tell her I'm prepared to do that, and I ask her specifically how to do it. Her answer is, of course, vague, because she is, of course, crazy. I am respecting your
Don't shuffle your snow onto my yard.
I can't help it when it's my yard as well. So now I've engaged with her, and I've agreed with her, and I've offered to fix the issue, but at the same time, I very quickly have told her, actually, no, it's not your yard, it's mine as well. And then I transition the conversation, or at least I attempt to. Do you want to show me exactly where your boundaries are?
Stay away!
Do you not have a deed? Do you not have a deed?
Stay away!
So I offered to let her show me where her boundary is, so we can negotiate or not, so I know why she's being triggered into dumping snow all over my driveway. Now I know that she's wrong, and I know the deed shows clearly that she's trespassing. I know that she's in the fault. I know she's wrong, but I don't tell her that. Do you not have a deed?
You're not supposed to be here.
Not surprisingly, when I bring it back to, do you have a property deed? Do you have a deed? And you'll notice me saying this over and over and over, because I want to hopefully implant in her brain the idea that she might want to get the deed of the property and have a look at it, because I have one and I've measured it out. And her whole argument is false anyway. It's quite legal to dump snow within reason on your neighbour's property in Canada. Quite legal. But I'm not actually dumping it on her property. I'm dumping it on mine, and she's transferring my snow on my property back to my driveway. I have legitimate reasons to be angry. I have legitimate reasons to tell her she's in the wrong. I'm going to attempt during this conversation not to do either of those things, because it won't work. You notice how she gets back to shouting, accusatory, trying to put me off balance. It doesn't work.
Get
Okay,
away!
okay. So now she's decided to terminate the conversation with a clear statement. You are not supposed to be here. How do I respond to this? How would you respond to it? Stay tuned. If I see you again doing what you're doing, I will be reporting you to the police, okay?
If you do it again, I'll call the police.
So I agree with her, not once, but twice, and start to slowly move away from her towards the sidewalk.
You
I'd rather you did.
No.
I'd rather you did. So behaviour is unacceptable. We haven't made resolution. Rather than get angry, I tell her strictly what I intend to do. Being somewhat crazy, she comes back at me with the same thing. This is like children. I'm going to hit you. No, I'm going to hit you. Be wary of those types of conversations, especially when you're emotionally engaged in it. Don't fall into that trap, because then there is no communication and will be no resolution. This is what I do. Do you have a deed when you bought this house? Because I have a deed.
Stay away from me.
I have a deed that clearly
Stay
shows
away
me.
from me.
Now, I think I've achieved as much of this conversation as I'm going to achieve at 3 in the morning with a crazy person. So, as much as I can in the conversations, I will agree with her. And I agree with her that I am, in fact, in her yard. I am, in fact, technically trespassing. It's a response to a trespass on my property, not once, but multiple times. But she's clearly, rationally, in a way, telling me that I am in her yard. I agree with her, and I will leave.
You are in my yard.
Yes, I am. I will leave. Telling her what I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm going to leave. Then I make a bit of an error. I'm only human, right? This isn't the script. This is 3 in the morning.
Get away.
I will leave. If I see you again in my driveway...
Get away.
I threaten her. What I was going to say was, if I see you again in my driveway, I will be calling the police. But in the context of talking to somebody who's insane, she takes it as a direct threat. So before I finish it, she's automatically shouting, and actually at this point hitting me, not violently, with a snow shovel. A manoeuvre I'd actually expected to occur earlier on and was actually ready for. Please don't hit me with that. Don't hit me with that. So again, I'm trying to keep the language nice, and I'm asking her not to hit me with that. It's really hard to sustain violence when the person saying to you, please don't hit me, and is sort of complying with your wishes. Of course, crazy people are crazy. Do not turn your back on a crazy person, ever.
Get away.
So this get away is because she just can't deal with the confrontation. She can't cope with it. She can't cope with the contextual information. I, at 3 in the morning, am telling her that she does not put snow on my driveway, that she's wrong and she needs to look at the deed, and that I will call the police. And I've said it calmly and purposefully. So get away. She wants me to get away, out of her sight. And of course I would merrily do so if she stops dumping snow on my driveway. Right? Okay, I'm no longer on your property. Now, you're prepared to show me where your property line is?
My property line is way back there. Stay away.
Show me exactly where it is. Having reached the artificial safety of the sidewalk, I tell her twice, show me where your property line is. Because she's irrational and mentally ill, all she can say, my property line's all the way over there. No, it isn't. There's a deed. There's a surveyor's report. There's a legal document. You can't just make up things and expect that your neighbour, if you're impinging on their rights, i.e. waking them up at 3 in the morning and covering their driveway with snow, don't expect them to be able to go, oh, okay, and leave. I think that's what she thought. You notice her body language, it's ready to charge, but at the same time she's frightened of me because I'm just standing there, open, ready for anything. And she's having already made physical contact about 5 times, she's with the snow shovel. It's meant to intimidate. It doesn't intimidate me in the slightest. I can easily take the shovel from her, I can easily pound her on her ass, but both of those results would be a bad thing. I'm actually kind of hoping at this point that she will swing it at me so that I can fake head contact and go to the hospital, and then she would be arrested because it's on camera, right? She doesn't, and that's fine. I didn't actually want her to do that, but I was ready for it. And by the way, do you have a deed? So let her get a couple of yards away, and then I go back to my original point. Do you have a deed? Now at this point you're all going, shut up about the deed. No, this is the critical thing. It's an objective method of deciding where the property line is. Not my opinion, not her opinion. A legal document. a legal document that exists, and she denies it exists because she's moved into the neighbourhood after I did, and she's decided for whatever reason to bully me and abuse Kitty, and she thinks she's going to get away with it. She's not going to. I'll be putting a fence up in the spring. Now, as you may or may not know, in Canada, if I put a fence up on the property line, she legally has to pay 50% of it. I'm not going to, because we're going to move. She doesn't know that. But if I did put the fence up, I would sue her for 50% of the fence's cost. She has no money. She has no friends either. But anyway, that, I've said the deed, the property line. I'm now telling her I'm going to put a fence up. This will remove all of her fun, all of her mindless gibbering and throwing garbage over my side and putting the snow there. All of this entertainment for her, I'm going to shut it off. Oh, will she like that? I don't think so. So I think it's important that you actually get a deed.
You can't do it.
So again, I'm focusing her back. It's important you get a deed. It's important that you see where the property line is, because I'm going to do it. Her only response, because she can't respond, is, you can't do that. I can't. Oh, I will, Ivy. I don't know if I should have said that. I think I should have just let her walk away, and just as she was about to leave, what I probably should have said was, have a great night. Because you can't bully and intimidate people. You can't come out at 3 o'clock in the morning and do that to somebody's driveway. You can't do that. Confronted with actual reality rather than whatever's been going on in her head, she cannot refute that argument. So she walks away. And so do I. Always know your limits. Don't break the law. Don't try to antagonize. Know when to withdraw if it's unsafe. And I wouldn't advise Kitty to do this, although she's fairly strong. I very much outweigh this lady, who's pretty strong because she's up and down all night long doing whatever she does, her Tai Chi. But I know that I have the arm reach and the leg reach to prevent closing in on me. And I don't want that to happen. And that's why I have the video camera. I didn't actually take the video camera thinking, hey, this will be great for my YouTube channel. I did it to actually protect myself if she accused me of touching her or attacking her to the police. And I think, to be honest, I'll have the camera for every encounter with this lady that I will have, and there will be more. So there you go. That's how I'm dealing with this in the now. But what would I do in SHTF? Well, it depends. If it's a local SHTF, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to ignore her. Because I'm not Christian, I'm not going to help her out at all. I'm just not. She needs blankets and heat and food. I don't care. She's not getting it from me. She needs a phone call. I'm not going to get it from me. I would call the fire brigade if the wind was coming from her property to protect mine, but if the wind was going that way, no, I wouldn't call the fire brigade. People who are genuinely crazy and sustained nasty, and there's been a long history of this from this lady. Honestly, I've got my stuff. I've got people I'm going to help in the neighbourhood. I'm going to set up a cook stove and feed everybody. She's not getting fed. And that's the way it is, because she's just a really nasty person. But in a major SHTF, what would I do with my Ivy problem? What would you do with your Ivy problem? Now, there's some out of you say, well, I'll just shoot her. There's some problems with that. If you shoot her, the neighbours might not like you for doing that, because she's crazy. But there's another issue here. It's a safety issue. If it's a major ongoing SHTF without external help coming, either regional, national or global, obviously global's different, but there's no help coming for weeks to months at all. The neighbourhood's there, they're on their own. Now I frankly would have a whole bunch of contacts in the neighbourhood. I'd be able to feed them in a short-term period for 6 months. Not great, but well enough. But what would you do with Ivy? Thing is, if you feed her, she's just going to accept that as her right. And she's dangerous. Very, very dangerous. SHTF will make all of us crazy. A major one. We'll all go a bit nutso. And any stresses and strains were there beforehand will be worse afterwards. So, I don't intend to be here. I intend to go to the Shire. But it's a radiological event. I might be burrowed in place, which is fine. She ain't coming into the burrow. But what do you do with Ivy? Do you shoot her? Do you burn her out? What do you do? Well, this is my advice. In a major SHTF event with somebody like Ivy, what you have to do is neutralise them early on. Neutralisation means that they are told in no uncertain terms that if they enter your property, you will kill them, you will murder them, because they are a security risk and you will not tolerate them. You know from their past behaviour that if they're on your property, they're going to damage or steal, and you're not having it, and there's no police coming, and I'm giving you fair warning, do not give me cause to fight. Now that sounds a bit extreme, but the alternatives can well be worse. Burning her out of the house or driving her out of the house leaves her at loose, and somebody like this is really capable of immense and critically violent activities when pushed, and that would push her to do that. So you can't let her roam around. At the same time, if you just leave her be, that's there all the time as a risk to you. She hates me. She really hates Kitty. She's really focused on that. She's totally dangerous. I can't risk it just walking up behind Kitty and stabbing her. I just can't. I would have to end her or make her move away. And my preferred option would be to tell her she's got 24 hours to get the hell out, keep an eye on her. Actually, I'd give her 6 hours. Why be nice, right? I'd tell her she's got 6 hours to get out or I'm killing you. And I'd mean it. And I'd keep a very close eye on her. But that sounds like weird, right? Like this is normal life. I mean, why would you do that to somebody? And I wouldn't do it happily. I would actually do it fairly unemotionally. I've made a neighbourhood assessment of all my neighbours. She's the only one that presents a clear and present danger to me and Kitty and SHTF. She presents that danger now. We keep the doors locked, we keep the car in the garage, we keep a very close eye on what she's doing when she's near our property line, especially the back, because I'm very concerned that she might try and poison the dogs, because people like that do things like that. We don't have kids. If we had young children, I could see her in SHTF, or maybe not in SHTF, doing something very bad to my children to get at us. People have very weird realities, and one of the things you need to understand is in SHTF, all bets are off. If SHTF happens on a global or a massive national scale and all rule of law is gone, you have to provide ethical and legal rule of law. You have to. You have to be the white light in a sea of darkness. But at the same time, you can't allow somebody like that to wander around and threaten you all the time just by being there, because she's utterly crazy. And that's one of the things you have to understand, is that you cannot be nice, you cannot be negotiating, you have to end that threat. And that sounds easy to say, and this isn't like, oh, I don't like the kids down the road because they're always making noise. They actually might be great for you in SHTF. She will not be great in SHTF, and she has no discernible skills. She has a lot of self-entitlement and an extreme amount of paranoia. She's accused of multiple things since she moved in, all of which are untrue, and I can't allow that to exist in my immediate community. I can't. It's as simple as that. There's no hope there for her living near me in SHTF that's massive and national. The good news is that I will be leaving anyway, so she will be the problem for the rest of the neighbours. Now I do know the rest of the neighbours won't take a fast decision like I have made, because I thought about it, but I'm pretty sure at some point during SHTF, without external help coming at all, somebody's going to kill her, because she's nuts and she's dangerous. Anyway, on that happy thought, let me know what you think. How are you going to deal with somebody like this? She's an extreme example, but there's many people out there in our society, and even within prepping groups, who are just as crazy, and you know it, and I know it. Doodles. So this is what she's been doing. At 3 o'clock in the morning, she's come and dumped snow all over my driveway. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy that. Canada's not always full of polite people, though might sound a bit racist. I don't think she's got a Canadian accent. Toodles! That was a Bad Terrier 2020 production.